Most couples tend to find themselves gravitating towards some version of traditional gender roles because, for the most part, that's what we've evolved for. That's what we've been built for. That's what's comfortable for us. What we need to do is avoid any gender dynamics that are stifling or exploitative or hurtful. So, in that case, a lot of people will use the wives need to submit and bludgeon women over the head with it, and a lot of women, to their credit, have been bludgeoned over the head repeatedly by very unkind fathers who demanded, who were authoritarian, who were tyrannical. A lot of women have been hurt by very tyrannical men who do not return love and care and respect and nurturing and listen and take them seriously. It needs to be both. So if a couple is going to work with that, the leader must be a servant leader. They must be a loving leader who listens, who cares, who nurtures, who is capable of that, who's emotionally available, who has secure attachment instead of being defensive, controlling, hurtful. And I will say this: I don't know any woman who's ever said that a man who is submissive, insecure, nervous, approval seeking, I don't know any woman that's ever said that's attractive, to be honest with you. So e- even hardcore feminists who've come to me for coaching, they usually will admit to me, like, ashamedly, Adam, I find myself gravitating toward men who are a little more dominant. I don't know if that's okay. And I say, great, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the difference between authoritarian and authoritative. A man who is a leader, but a servant leader, a loving leader, who will care for you, who will listen with you, who will bond with you, who will take you seriously, who never dismisses you, who is completely open to working with you as a loving partner. That passage doesn't just say lay down your life and die for your woman, and that's what a lot of guys say. I just have to die for you and work for you. I don't have to care. No, long suffering, listening, caring, patient, not punishing, but maybe disciplining at times, but working together, caringly, with honor and integrity, being worthy of submission to, being worthy of trust. That's the other unspoken element of that, that fairly a lot of Christian women do fairly point out. I will submit to a man when he is worthy of that. Fair point. Fair point. And part of being worthy of that is, frankly, being securely attached so that you react correctly in relationships, you decrease their stress, you handle your needs and their needs, and you're open and honest.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that in discussions with both Christians and non-Christians, there is a consensus of like that worthiness that I was actually going to say, and then you mentioned it yourself, which I'm really glad that you did. So it's clearly something that has formed part of the way that you kind of understand it and talk to people. Um, how how is the balance? Because I'm just trying to like work this out. So as the guy, obviously they need to be almost like capable of the bad stuff, but have that bad stuff under control and be good, right? Like that's like the mark of a good man, right?
That's called being meek. When they say the meek shall inherit the earth, it's not weakness, it's not cowardice, it's not doing it. It is having enormous strength and disciplining yourself in the use of it.
Hmm.
It is
And
having the capacity to be a tyrant and choosing to be a servant leader instead. It is having the ability to inflict great violence on threats, but never using that violence or the coercion methods on your family ever. It is perfect discipline. Meekness is about perfect discipline. It requires strength. You cannot be meek. You cannot be disciplined. You cannot be honorable if you are never challenged or if you don't even have the capacity to do it. If you have no strength, you cannot be meek. You have to have strength to be meek. And meek is not being a doormat either. You have discipline and you judge correctly. That's what's required.